You're watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. My name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for tuning in on today's show. And on today's show, we got some rumors to hit you guys with. Let's start with one of the bigger storylines over the past 24, 48 hours. Quinnen Williams. Is there a chance that the Jets would shop him on the NFL trading block? Rich Cimini, ESPN Jets reporter, says that the Jets and Williams, quote, aren't close to a contract extension. Here's more from Cimini. He says that two defensive tackles from Quinnen Williams' draft class, Tennessee Titans Jeffrey Simmons at $23.5 million per year, and Giants Dexter Lawrence, who got $22.5 million, have received big extensions this offseason. I'll also add Daron Payne getting paid, just different draft class. Williams appears to be the next man up, but the two sides aren't close to an agreement, even though the second contract market for top defensive tackles is clearly formed. Now, you look at the market right now, and defensive tackles, they've started to get paid. This is a position that has become more and more valuable because teams recognize if you can get pressure from the interior, that is tough for quarterbacks to face. I mean, obviously Aaron Donald's kind of in his own category, but Jeffrey Simmons, gets paid. Daron Payne, Dexter Lawrence, they all become kind of 2 through 4 there this offseason. Leonard Williams is up there. Chris Jones, who's looking for a new extension with the Chiefs here, he's going to get a pay raise, whether it's from Kansas City or somewhere else. Javon Hargrave got paid. You got 8 guys at defensive tackle getting over $20 million per year. Now, getting Quinnen Williams would cost you a lot in multiple facets. Number one, it would cost you at least a first-round pick and probably more. Number two, it would also cost you $20+ million to pay him as well, probably $23-24 million on a new deal. So not only are you going to have to give up big draft capital to get him, you're going to have to sign him to a mega deal. Now, that doesn't mean it's not worth it for a team. Maybe the Chiefs, maybe not. Obviously, they got to figure out Chris Jones as well. But that's just the reality. Like interior guys that can get pressure, get in the quarterback's face, that's becoming more and more valuable in today's NFL. Should the Chiefs trade for Quinnen Williams? Type Y for yes. You can type in for no. Let me know in the comment section. This will be the pinned comment on today's video, so you go ahead and reply right there. You look at what Williams did last year. He's always been a good player, but I thought he had a breakout campaign a year ago for the Jets, had 12 sacks. I mean, the QB hits for me, it's like, okay, he's getting consistent pressure. 28 quarterback hits, tons of pressures, 2 forced fumbles. I mean, this guy's a game wrecker. I mean, you pair him with Chris Jones, that would be, I think, by far the best interior defensive line group in the NFL. Him and Jones are your starters. You brought in Coburn. You'd still have Derek Nottie, Tershawn Wharton. I mean, that's a lethal group. It would also free up guys like Karlaftis and Aminihu and Adedike Uzomah even more because you would have to, focus so much on the interior. Now, I can't imagine the Jets actually moving him because they're all in. They just traded for Aaron Rodgers. They're trying to win a Super Bowl right now. You don't trade Quinnen Williams if you're trying to do that. If you're the Jets, even if you don't get a deal done, you can play this year out. He's under contract. Now, Quinnen Williams could hold out. He's skipping voluntary workouts. Will he skip training camp? Would he skip games without a new deal? Maybe, maybe not. But if you're in New York, this would be shocking. I think the only way they would consider moving him is if he went public and requested a trade. Now, speaking of Felix Adedike Uzomah, a couple of you guys have gotten his jersey. We still have a few more available, so if you want to pick one up today, go to chatsports.com/Felix. That link is in the description and in the comments of today's video. Go represent the Chiefs' first-round pick. Pre-order the jersey today. Have it shipped out well before week 1. All right, speaking of number 1, that's not Adedike Uzomah's number. They just haven't finalized the shipping of all that yet. Kadarius Toney, is he going to be a wide receiver 1? Adam Teicher of ESPN, Chiefs reporter, says Toney is, quote, first in line to be the Chiefs' number 1 wide receiver. More from Teicher here. He says, this is from Brett Veach, who we quoted in his story about this. We got him in the middle of the season, and so there's only so much you can do with him. Talking about on the fly last year. He's extremely smart, so it's not going to be anything with grasping ideas or concepts. We were surprised with how quickly he picked it up. I think the sky is the limit for him. And there was a report earlier this offseason that the Chiefs believe he could be wide receiver 1, and based on the moves this offseason, that's where I have him penciled in. We know MVS is not a number 1. He's a complimentary receiver, someone who can challenge defenses vertically, Sky Moore, I think that's kind of what he's at right now too. Guy who's going to work primarily out of the slot. Rashee Rice, second-round pick. I think he's got potential to be a big-time player, but he's still a rookie. We got to see him earn his stripes. Richie James, Justin Watson, their rotation guys. Justin Ross, if he makes this team, he's not going to be asked to be a number one, obviously. And look, you've got Travis Kelce, so you don't need Toney to go out there and be this 1,300-yard player, but he's got the elite talent. He's got the ability to be a number one receiver in this league. I loved him coming out of Florida. Obviously, there were some, question marks. I don't want to use the phrase character concerns, but there was stuff coming out of Florida, kind of rumblings. Obviously, he didn't mesh well with the Giants, but he's been a true pro's pro since coming to Kansas City, and I think we've seen a lot of examples of that. Get players into this culture under Andy Reid, and players can excel. And I wouldn't say Toney excelled last year after getting traded here, but he did a lot of good things. Obviously, he had a big Super Bowl impact with the touchdown and a long punt return. The question is, can he maximize that talent and become that number one receiver? If he maximizes his talent, I think he is a number one in this league. Big year for him to prove that he can be on that trajectory. Can Kadarius Toney be a number one receiver? What do you guys think? I think he can. Now, will he? We're still projecting a lot with that. Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. If you think he could be a number one, go ahead and type 1. Okay, we are literally on the precipice of 42,000 subscribers, less than 30 away. If you want daily Chiefs videos, hit that subscribe button. We're not going anywhere. The latest Chiefs news, rumors, updates during offseason workouts like rookie minicamp, obviously, OTAs coming up. We got you covered with everything. Hit that sub button, and before you know it, preseason will be here. Camp will be here. The season will be upon us. I cannot wait. Hopefully you guys can't wait either. Subscribe and join us on this journey. All right, bring back Frank Clark. Could it happen? Could Chris Jones' Shark brother return to this defensive line? Chris Jones is recruiting Clark, it appears, to return for the 2023 season. Chris Jones tweeting on Monday, at the real Frank C, let's finish it. Then he added the Chiefs as well, sending a little bit of a message on social media. Look, I don't think anyone necessarily thought when Frank Clark got released that he would still be available in free agency. Now, I didn't think he'd get a huge deal. Maybe he's holding out, hoping that a bigger contract comes. I would bring back Frank Clark for cheap in a heartbeat. I was hoping they would restructure him. This time last year, I was kind of pounding the table for cut Frank Clark. Let's cut ties. Decent run, but underachieved. But another strong playoff run this past year, and I was on the camp of, hey, let's get that restructure done, and the two sides couldn't agree, so the Chiefs cut him. I think Frank Clark and his agent probably thought there'd be bigger offers out there. That clearly has not come to fruition. Now, Frank Clark never was the $25+ million per year player for the Chiefs in the regular season. There's simply no doubt about that. When they traded for him and paid him that big contract, they were expecting more than this. His best year was his first year with 8 sacks. I thought they thought they were getting a double-digit sack guy for years to come, and that didn't happen. But when it counted most, he was great in the playoffs, and I still think there's room for Frank Clark on this defensive line. Now, maybe it's a lesser role. Maybe he's not a full-time starter, but it's not like Charles Omenihu is just a multi-year proven guy, especially in this system. Frank Clark is, even if he never reached his max potential here in Kansas City. And I've called him this before, I'll call him again. Frank Clark is what I call a triple P, a proven playoff performer. The guy had 10.5 sacks and countless pressures in 12 playoff games with the Chiefs. That's pretty damn good, folks. And that first Super Bowl run, he was big time. This last one, he was really good as well. I think on a 1-year deal for the vet minimum, or even just $3 or $4 million, maybe an incentive type of contract. Yeah, you already have him on your dead cap books for $7 million, but say you give him $3 million. $10 million you're paying him for this year on a 1-year deal. I think that's worth it for what he brings in the postseason, which obviously the Chiefs will be in the postseason, barring a catastrophic injury to Patrick Mahomes. Should the Chiefs sign Frank Clark? If it's cheap, I'm in. Type S for sign or P for pass. Let me know in the comments section down below. Should the Chiefs sign Frank Clark? S for sign or P for pass. Let me know what you guys think. Again, it's crazy to think that we could be here and that this could happen, but I would absolutely consider it if I was Kansas City. S for sign, P for pass, and don't forget to subscribe to the Chiefs Report.